Good morning. Welcome into day one, part one of Dream, the masterclass, the three-part experience. This is really fun. This is actually one of my, um, my own, dreaming is like my core philosophy. Okay, if you know me in person or have been in my energy for any amount of time or have been in Rise Academy for any amount of time, you know, dreaming and thinking bigger, thinking outside the box is like one of my superpowers, I feel like. Okay, as you're jumping in, I want you to say hi. I want you to say where you're watching from. I want you to state your intention. If you are here and you want to go all in, I want you to interact with me. Okay, I want you to play with me. I want you to really immerse into this experience. Okay, so whether you're on live or on the replay, I want you to really get involved. Okay, the more you put into this experience, the more you're going to get out. We're streaming in our Co-Create Facebook community group. We're over here on my Instagram page, and I'm going to pre-warn you guys. I have my toddler here today, so she might pop in and out. She is pretty occupied out there, but there is a chance. Okay, you've been warned. It is also a full moon, so I don't know about you guys, but yesterday I was definitely scattered, and when I'm in the work that I do, it's very much like a flow state. Like a flow state, it's almost needs, I create this flow state. So yesterday I was like, flow state, not happening. I feel like I'm running all over the place in my head. Not productive. So today, I've got some notes to try to keep us on track a little bit, but there's always that, you guys know me, I like to go down rabbit holes. I like to get into the conversation. So I'm just, again, forewarning you, because it is a full moon. There is a little bit of wild going on, but also I feel a little like today's like a lower energy. So it is a full moon, technically I guess it was now or a little bit ago. So anywho, welcome in. I'm so pumped for these 3 days that we're going to be spending together. Whether you are here on live with me or on the recording, I'm grateful that you're here. I am super grateful to be here. I am going to be leading you through, like I started saying, my own unique process, my own, sharing a lot of my own story, because I teach mostly through my own experience. Okay, I'm not that type of coach that's gonna I don't even know what I want to say. I'm not somebody who's here to just teach you this is how you do it, this, and this, and this, and this, or I don't know. Nothing about me is very linear. Nothing really about me is kind of like status quo. Okay, we don't do that around here. We're very intuitive. We're very tapped in, turned on, expressive. So a lot of what I teach is that totally. Like I said, I've got a few notes to keep us sort of on track with a few things I got to touch on today, for you to get the most out of this. But a lot of what I do is very much intuitive, and that is what I teach, and what I will be teaching you over these 3 days, how you can, and maybe you already know how to do this, right? But I do attract people who have maybe forgotten this beautiful skill that we as humans all have, okay? And that is the ability to tap into a space that is outside of the mind. It's something deeper than the mind, right? The mind is, oh, hey, good morning. The mind is very limited. And so we're going to talk about that over these 3 days. So I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to see what comes up, what we end up talking about these 3 days, and where we go from here. Okay, so a little bit of an introduction, because I do know there's some newer faces around here, which is really, really exciting. As you guys know, I live in Costa Rica. I live here with my little family. I came to Costa Rica a few years ago. It's almost 5 years now. But there was a time when, my life did not look like this. Okay, and I know there's some of you here that are in like the thick of life happening around you, right? And it feels very limiting. It feels very like contraction, right? It feels like, oh, life is happening around me, life is happening to me, I'm in this situation, I have these, circumstances, and I'm really just in the thick of it. Okay, that was me. That was me. You know, knowing what I know now, I know why it was, and we're going to go through that over these 3 days, which hopefully, especially today, helps you to just open up and build this beautiful awareness that we are co-creating a reality always and forever, period. Okay, so I was in this situation at one point in my life when I was the single mom to 2 little kids. The father chose to not be involved, and it was a very, from the outside world, it was a very tricky situation. It was a situation where I could easily, look at what's going on around me and say I'm stuck, or like this sucks, or like, oh my gosh, or even like this is my situation is because of this person or XYZ, right? And like hold this energy of like, it's everyone else's fault, this victim energy. And so it was actually really interesting. Now, reflecting back on that period of time, I'm extremely grateful that I've just always been this type of person who's like kind of eccentric, like thinking out of the box or like challenging the perceptions. And it's been for a really, really long time where I have been that sort of person that's like challenging the norms. So I think that really worked in my favor, but I understand that not everybody's like that. So I do feel it's almost like my responsibility. That's a big part of what I bring to the world, is this gift of like seeing another way out, right? Being positive no matter what, and really creating a new idea and identity. And I really truly feel like that's what happened to me back then. So I was very, very much, oh, we've got a visitor. Yes. Okay, so I was very much in like I said, like the 3D physical world was showing me that like life is hard. I was struggling. I was in the thick of it, right? In the thick of single motherhood, in the thick of like, winters in Canada. Just give me one sec. Sorry, I pre-warned you guys. Yeah, Abby? Like I said, I'm here with my toddler today, and so she'll be our guest a few times, I'm sure. Oh my gosh. So, it's easy in those situations. I'm sharing this with you because I love knowing the kind of like the pre-story. I love like I said, teaching through my own experience. So it's very easy for us when we're in those situations to get like emotionally involved. It's really easy for us to tell ourselves these stories of like, life is happening around me, like I deserve this, or like all of these things, like, oh, if it was only this, this, and this, and this, but it's actually what I want us to kind of talk about today, and what I want us to realize is that life is actually a physical manifestation of our past thoughts, beliefs, actions, ideas. We literally are creating our realities in every moment. And so, oh hi, there you are. And so when I found myself in that, quote unquote, like dire experience, that circumstance of like, well, like I'm in the depths of the dark, the lowest, like I can't even like articulate how hard and intense that point in my life was. Hi, Auntie. Can you go out for a sec, for a little bit? I love you. So in those moments, though, it's like, it's really up to us to realize that what I just said, and sometimes it's really hard to hear that, like, we are the creators of our own reality. We can look around and really truly, like, maybe even some of you listening are like, how the hell did I call this in, right? How did I call this in? Or like, what did I do to deserve this? Okay, there was a lot of those thoughts back then. But I think also, like, we can get wrapped up in it. We can really truly, like, make ourselves crazy thinking about, and like, it really doesn't feel good if we're like, what did I do to deserve this? Or like, how did I call this in all the time? What if it was just something that needed to happen on your path, right? What if it's something that you just needed to experience? So I'm sharing this because like, I want you to reflect back in maybe something that happened to you. We're going to go deeper into this in a little bit here, like maybe something in the past as a small child. I have students and clients that share, pretty traumatic childhood stories. And, in those experiences, it's like, what did you do to call that in? No, that was something that you had to go through, unfortunately. And now, man, I have like goosebumps everywhere. Like, you now have the responsibility of healing from it so that you can share it with the world, so that you can help other people that have been through those situations to overcome them and to become the best version of themselves. Okay, do you see what I'm trying to say here? Like, sometimes it's not just like, what did I call in? Or like, how did this happen to me? It's really truly like, this is something that I needed to experience in order to be able to serve in this way, in order to be able to like impact this amount of people and this many people. Like, it's now, do you see what I like, I've built a whole business around the mess I was in, right? I now help people to go from like wherever they believe they are to living their absolute dream reality now, right? There's no, and we're going to talk about that over these 3 days, which I'm super, super stoked about. So anyway, let's talk about an itinerary before we go any further, okay? What are we expecting over these 3 days together? So, of course, there's going to be a daily lesson. I'm going to be live over here on Instagram, 10 a.m.-ish Central. I don't know time zones, honestly, Central Standard Time, I think, but we're Costa Rica time. And then over in our Facebook community group as well, we'll go for about an hour here. Okay, hey Sam, hey Kai, oh my gosh, so good to see you guys. So you're going to want to go in linear order. So if you are watching on day one, you're exactly where you need to be, okay? So if each lesson of each day builds upon the last, okay? So you're going to want to watch them in order. Like I said before, like freaking immerse, like get yourself involved here, okay? You're here for a reason. I don't believe in coincidences. You're seeing me for a reason. Stick around, get your notebook out, grab a pen. If you didn't register yet and you want the full integration questions to go even deeper into this, like do it. I also talked about in my stories like how the energetics of registering for an event or an experience like this, it changes everything. If you're here watching on the sidelines, like what does that say about your commitment to your own expansion and growth? Okay, so you're going to want to register. You can find the link through my bio or in our Facebook community group. And if you register, you also get, you also get the ability to earn prizes. Okay, and of course, then you receive my emails, and like that's awesome because you can then not miss out on anything. Okay, so we're going to have, like I said, daily lessons. Part 3, so on Saturday is VIP day. I didn't tell you guys anything about this, but if you guys have been around a little while, we used to do VIP day a long time ago. I want to do it again because there's something magical that happens when we're talking about dreaming. I'm not going to tell you anything about VIP day until tomorrow, so that's really exciting. Just know that it's a good time and it's my favorite day, and you'll want to be there. Okay. What else do I have to tell you? Just looking at my notes, I want you guys to interact. Like I said, play along, comment, get into the conversation. I'm not here to like entertain you, okay? That's not something that's like really my forte. I'm here to like genuinely share my own experiences and some concepts with you guys to help you to get out of your own way. Honestly, that's what we're doing here, okay? So I'm really excited to be here, really excited to share this with you because honestly, like looking back, I wish, hey Andy, I wish I would have had this information. I wish I would have had this guidance. I wish I would have had this support, this material back when I was in the thick of the thick, okay? That's really, really, really important to me is that like I share this with the world, okay? Does it look a little messy from time to time? Yeah, but like sometimes I'm messy and that's okay. We all are, but I think like I shared yesterday actually in our Q2, love you too. I shared yesterday in our Q2 Micromind chat that like if we give ourselves permission, like when we give ourselves permission to just be us, like to just like full on embody like who we are here to be, we give the world permission to do the same, right? Like, but there's something really magical that happens when we kind of look at ourselves take a serious look at ourselves and ask ourselves, like, how can I be more of me? How can I be more authentic? How can I be a more like evolved, like, how can I add more value to the world through being me? And that is through really truly just showing up as you are. Okay, and then through doing that, I hope you guys find inspiration to do that for yourself, because it's a ripple effect all around the world, right? So, okay, so what is dreaming, you guys? Today, our topic for these 3 days is dreaming. What is dreaming? Okay, usually, when we talk about dreaming, we talk about maybe like goal setting, we talk about vision boarding, we talk about like hoping, wishing, just like allowing our imagination to go wild. Okay, so the really cool thing about desiring a different experience, all you need to change your specific circumstance, your specific situation, all you need is desire. All you need is a desire to change it. Isn't that pretty cool? We don't need the money. We don't need the resources. We don't need the connections. All we need to change our situation, no matter how dire it may feel, is a desire. Okay? So most people, when we're dreaming, we talk about, like, okay, well, so we're going to set goals and we're going to like get to work, okay? Or we're going to make a vision board. We're going to make a vision board and we're going to like put these pretty pictures, and in the moment we're like, yeah, I'm like fired up. Some of it's like, ooh, like, I don't know if this is ever going to happen. This is like, it feels like a far off thing, but we put this on our vision board anyway. And we look at the vision board as if we're like, oh, like one day that's going to happen. One day I will, sail the sea around Greece, whatever it is. Like one day I will have a successful business or whatever. Okay, we put it on the vision board, and there's this separation, right? You look at it as like a longing. Okay, so during these 3 days, we're going to close that gap, and I'm going to show you how, like, just dreaming, as in just allowing your imagination to go wild and putting things on a vision board or setting goals, it doesn't work. Okay, I want to hear from you guys. Have you ever set a goal or said you were going to do something, and then maybe you wrote it down, you got into it emotionally, you got like emotionally involved, and then maybe like the next day passes and you start to look at it and you're like, oh gosh, and you like the next day goes by, maybe you talk about it like with a friend or your partner, and you're like, what do you think about this goal? What do you think? And the partner's like, you're nuts, or like, how is that even possible? What are you going to do with this, and this? I want to know the details of this. And then in your head, you're like, oh my gosh, like this feels really hard. This feels very overwhelming. I don't know what I'm doing. It's not even possible. I don't have the resources. I don't have the money. I'm not good enough for this. Your mind starts to create all these stories. Has this ever happened to you? A few days goes by and you look at the goal and you're like, what was I thinking? Right? I'm absolutely nuts. Okay, let's talk about what happened there. Let me know if this has ever happened to you. I know a couple of you on live, that's definitely happened to you, right? This is so common. So this is what most people do, right? We get like really emotionally involved with like this new idea, right? This like, ooh, what if this is possible, And then we allow the mind to talk us out of it. We allow the mind to talk us out of it. Yes, always. Okay, the mind is so strong. So I want to talk about, yes, Kai, it has. I know, I've done it too, and I still do it. I want you guys to know that. But now, and I know Kai as well, we are now so much more aware. So today we're going to be deepening that awareness, expanding on that awareness. So for those of you that are brand new to my world, this is going to blow your mind, and you are going to become so much more powerful even just after today's lesson. Okay, so what we're doing here, so when we have this desire and we allow the mind the ability to interject, we really truly leave ourselves kind of like, what's the example? We're really truly like allowing ourselves to be easily swayed. I think that's what I'm trying to say, okay? When we're not so certain about our desire being ours, and like really truly being ours, outside forces have a say. Okay, do you feel this? Okay. But when we are so rock solid in our desire, we have built up this new idea and identity to back it up. We are the full embodiment of that desire already being ours. This is what we're going to talk about tomorrow and the day after. Then we're almost unshakable. Almost unshakable. Because, like I said, the mind is powerful. Sorry, I hope you can hear me. The neighbor's doing some sawing over there, I guess. Almost unshakable because the mind is strong. Okay, the mind is strong. So remember how I started the conversation today talking about my experience when I was, in the dark of the deep darkness. As a single mom, like super struggling, living government housing like that, like looking around, you see struggle, right? People looking in, you see that person is stuck, okay? So when I also said we create our own reality, okay? So whatever has happened to us in the past, Bob Proctor calls this a paradigm, okay? Your paradigm. It feels heavy though. It feels like very masculine. A paradigm feels like something external. But it's actually just like, I like to see it as like your filters, your ideas, like your own unique lens. The way you see the world is made up of a collection of ideas that you collected along your path, your whole life. So if somebody told you that you were fat and ugly and will never succeed at anything, which God forbid, right? Chances are there's something inside of you, and this is really deep work, you guys. Maybe you're not even aware of these concepts, these ideas, these like beliefs that other people put on you. You might not even be aware of them right now. Okay. After today, with the integration questions, you're probably going to become aware of like, holy shit, I have this idea. I have a business right now, but I have the belief that business is hard and that it takes a lot of work or it's a struggle because my parents were entrepreneurs and they were never successful. Do you see what I'm saying here? So interesting, right? So all this is information. So we, in my world, are pretty big nerds when it comes to information. Everything is information. So as we go throughout our day, as we're experiencing these things, as we're dreaming, allowing ourselves to dream, whatever we're doing, we are gathering information. That is, at the end of the day, that is what we are. We are a collection of information. Our mind specifically is, like I said before, it is a limitation, but it's also an incredible tool, okay? But at this moment, I'm going to say like our mind forevermore as well will be one of our biggest limitations. Okay, so if we don't master our mind and really become aware of these old thoughts, these old patterns, these old tendencies, we will continue to create from there. You see how important this is? You see how important this is? Okay, so many people, so many coaches in this industry, if you're like, yeah, okay, we're going to talk about dreaming. What is it you want? We're just going to make a vision board and we're going to, maybe get emotionally involved with it and we're just going to like dream and allow ourselves to dream and like, just go for it. It doesn't work. This is why. Is because we're always creating from what has happened to us, what we've lived through, what we've experienced, okay? So Bob Proctor used to say that it's up until about the age of 7 that our subconscious mind is wide open, like literally wide open. What that means is that our mind, we actually have the ability to accept or reject any idea. Okay, up until the age of 7, we did not have the ability to reject ideas. We just accepted everything around us as truth. Okay, and we allowed it unconsciously to code into our being as information to create through. Do you get that? Is that so crazy? So I want you to think, what happened to me before the age of 7? What was my situation, my circumstance? What was the relationship like between my parents? Like, what was my family life? What was my school? Who was I surrounded by? What ideas did those people have? Now we can start to see synchronicities. We can start to see, oh shit, that's why I do X, Y, Z. That's why whenever I go to buy myself a beautiful matcha in the coffee shop, I hear my dad in my head saying that's expensive, or I should be saving my money, or money doesn't grow on trees. Do you see what I'm saying here? So now you start to see these and become aware of these tendencies. Okay, and some of you here have been to previous events. You've been in my world, in my courses, classes. You've heard this before. But you also know that sometimes you hear something like 13 times, and on the 14th time, you're like, I don't know why, but that just landed. Like, finally clicked into place, and I get it now. I get it. Oh my gosh, now there's like somebody driving by. The loudspeaker on. Okay, so no matter how many times you've heard me say this, and I do it all the time when I'm listening to podcasts, books, interviews, whatever, I'm on in coaching containers, like whatever it is, masterminds, I'm listening to things and I'm like, I've heard this a million times, but for some reason it just clicked. This is the power of repetition. And this is one of the ways that Bob used to say we can change these ideas. Okay, so if we think of it, okay, up until the age of 7, we've been collecting all these ideas without the ability to reject any of them. So they just became who we are. It's kind of scary, actually. It's scary, right? But after the age of 7, we began to develop this ability to reject ideas. Okay, we began to develop this ability to reject ideas. But a lot of us, still today, don't. If you're in a conversation with someone that's saying, business is hard, man, the economy is shit, like everything's so expensive, the money is hard to come by, like on and on and on. Okay, do we accept that person's point of view? Do we accept that as truth? Are we saying, yeah, I agree, and getting into the story like, yeah, it's What we're doing there is putting it in motion, and we create our own reality. So of course, our truth will always be our truth until it's not, until we change it. In order to change it, we must become aware of it. So in that situation, when we're like getting into the drama and how does that make you feel? Okay, in a conversation about how shit the economy is, you're probably going to walk away from that being like, I don't have enough money, I'm in lack, I can't pay my rent, I can't buy my groceries. Like, how does that feel? It feels awful, okay? And we can look at the economy in two different ways. We can see the economy as that, as holy shit, like things are going south and like, this is dangerous, or we can see it as an opportunity to get more creative and become a better version of us, dream bigger, so we can serve the world with our gifts through just being us. Okay, so I will challenge any of you that say you don't have something to share with the world. I will. And if you tell me I have a business but I'm struggling, it's because of something in here. It's because of a belief that you are holding and you are recreating and living through that. Your results always reflect where your thinking is. Okay, so interesting, right? So if we have this ability to reject ideas, in that situation when somebody is like, the economy, we can listen to them. We're not going to just say like, go away, like you're wrong. No, we're going to listen to them compassionately with the deep understanding that we get to choose. And in that moment, in my head, in our heads, we're like, I don't believe this to be true. But it's so fascinating to me that this person does. I'm like, I almost feel bad for them, but they're really truly like, like solidifying it deeper and deeper into themselves when they continue to, it's honestly like, that's what inside my head sounds like most of the time, just observing people and their ways of thinking. And so we can have compassion in those situations, but we can reject that idea. If it doesn't align with what we want to create, what we're dreaming about, we get to reject it. Okay, so I want you to think right now, do I reject or do I just accept everything? Did I forget that I have the ability to reject things? Okay, so anything, social media, somebody says something that, it's like, it doesn't make me feel good. Reject. That's not my reality. I don't choose to believe that, right? Like anybody saying anything you see on the news, anything around you, in my situation back then, I was like, I don't accept this to be true. And back then, I didn't even know who Bob Proctor was. Isn't it so cool? I don't know if you guys are into human design at all, but I myself was just put in a group like last week, and there was a human design coach in there. So I got her to read my chart, and I was like, this is really weird because I already do all these things. And we like, without needing to know the thing, like it's just who we are naturally. And so yeah, it's really interesting. But anyway, that was kind of a side note. So when we now are aware that we get to accept or reject ideas, and it's so funny. I just got an email about human design. No such thing as coincidences, my friends. Everything is always happening around us. And like honestly, after this conversation today, you're gonna go back out into the world, into your daily life, and you're gonna be like, whoa, did that just happen? Seeing, and I see it as like a sign. I see signs everywhere. So I'm open and ready to receive the guidance, right? The guidance and even like the affirmation of like, I'm exactly where I need to be. I always know that I am, but it's also really cool to see it like in real time when the universe really like shows us, right? It's so hot. Yeah. Okay, so where was I? The ability to accept or reject. Let me know if this is landing for you guys. Really, like, let me know if you're like, wow, even just this however many 30 minutes here, we've been conversing, we've been talking. Let me know if this is landing for you. If you feel like, you have so much more clarity now around where we start and what dreaming really is. So we now know, what most people do when we're talking about dreaming. But what we do here is we first become aware of where we are, okay? Aware of our current thoughts, our current beliefs, our current, ideas, and we question them. We question them, and all we say, is this serving me? Is this a belief that serves me? As we go throughout our day, we encounter certain situations. Is this a belief that serves me? I always use the example of buying tahini. We're in the grocery store and we're like, oh, I can't get the tahini. Just a random example. Why can't I get the tahini? What? Like what? Am I, through me not getting the tahini, is that implying that I am in lack, right? When we go to the coffee shop, why don't I buy what I actually want to buy? All of these things. So money is something I relate to, and I know that lots of people relate to money, so I do use it as an example, but it could be with anything. It could be with anything. Like, why do I do what I do? Okay, so this is how we're going to start to build awareness. Because again, we are always creating through our ideas. Okay, like I said, Bob used to call this a paradigm. So I started sharing how he teaches how to change a paradigm, and I really truly believe that there is 3 ways to change a paradigm. Bob used to teach too. Okay, the first way is through constant spaced repetition. Like I started saying, right? It's through hearing the thing again and again and again. It's through writing down the thing again and again and again. It's through telling ourselves a new story again and again and again. Overriding the old one. Okay, he used to say we're building a new economy that makes the old economy obsolete. Okay, we're not deleting the past. We're not judging the past or feeling like we wish it was different. We are seeing it for what it is, finding gratitude in it, and then healing from it in a moment. Do you believe that we can heal in a second? Like, maybe a physical illness is a little bit different, but like something that happened to us in the past, however traumatic, however intense it could have been, can we stop creating through it now? just through stating we're done. I believe that through becoming aware that this is how I was raised, this is how I was believing my life was, up until now, I give myself permission to forgive myself and to let it go now, right this second. I am no longer allowing myself to co-create through that lens anymore. So this is something we're going to talk more about tomorrow, and I'm also going to lead you through an EFT tapping activation tomorrow. Okay, so it's through building that new story and that new idea. We're honestly convincing ourselves of a new idea. Okay, we're always convincing ourselves of something. We always are. Like if we're not convincing ourselves of something, the world's convincing us of something, like the economy thing, right? So how about we start to convince ourselves that life is working out for us, that we are successful, we are wealthy, we are healthy, we are connected, we are influential, we are loved, we are love. Like all of these new stories, through convincing ourselves and telling ourselves this new story over and over and over again, guess what happens? You start to believe it. Have you ever convinced yourself something didn't happen? We probably think all of us have. Like you're like, that didn't happen. Like I didn't just fall flat on my face in front of 100 people. It's like that didn't happen. And we just erase it in our mind and literally telling ourselves it didn't happen. When someone says, oh yeah, remember 5 years ago at whatever, this event, you were on stage and you fell in front of 100 people, and you're like, no. Right? We convince ourselves it didn't happen. How about we convince ourselves what we want is true? Okay, and some of you might be like, this is absolutely crazy. Well, welcome to my world. This is so fun, right? What if we can co-create the reality that we actually want through telling ourselves a new story? So cool. So that's the first way we change these ideas, change a paradigm, right? Change this programming, whatever you want to call it. Whatever happened to us up until today, this point, this is how we change it. And it's the first way is through overriding it, through telling ourselves a new story, constant spaced repetition. Okay, some people will say, you've got to write it down 150 times a day. No, do not. If that feels aligned to you, then okay, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't, okay? So we're convincing ourselves of a new idea. Okay, it doesn't end there though, and that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow and the next day. It's not just convincing ourselves of a new idea, it's moving it into the mind and into the body. Tomorrow we're talking more about the mind, and on Saturdays all about the body. All right, and so the second way we change a paradigm or this programming, as in Bob Proctor's words, is through a drastic emotional impact. So something intense happens, something intense, okay? So, a near-death experience, or, some people, watch a documentary or something and it changes their life forever. Or for me, it was a car crash, right? It's actually really interesting that when I was in that situation as a single mom, I desired something different, but I hadn't made a choice. And I was in the thick of winter with two tiny kids, a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. And I was really, truly in the thick of winter. I was really in the depths of working on myself. I had started my own online business, my first online business. And I was literally just in the thick of it. I knew something else was there for me. I knew this was not my life. I was completely detached from the 3D reality, which is really important. We're going to talk more about that, right? I was detached from the 3D, and I was so deeply connected into something else, but I didn't exactly know what. I hadn't made the decision. And so the universe helped me to make the decision. Have you ever, I have heard this in the past 3 months, I've heard multiple different stories of this. When people are like, I want to start my own business, but I currently am employed and I hate my job and but I really want to start my own business. This is really what I want. And then all of a sudden they get laid off out of nowhere. Okay, be careful what you wish for. Watch your words. Right? And so now there you go. Universe is like, start your own business. Let's go. Prime example. But the tendency of the mind, the tendency of the human whatever, is to be like, oh shit, now what? And we go to worst case scenario. Now I need to figure it out. Now I need to da-da-da. Like, figuring it out is not what we do here. We do not figure anything out. We let go. We let go, we surrender, and we lean in. And we trust that everything is working out perfectly. Even if it's down to the last wire. Before something happens, it's going to happen. We're going to talk more about that tomorrow on the next day. Isn't that cool, though? We always get what we ask for. So I have been asking for clarity on where I should go or what I should do. And I just needed to make the decision. I knew in that, like, the thick of the winter, I knew that I wanted to not be in Canada for the next winter. I was like, this is my last winter here. And it felt so good to be like, this is my last winter here. I don't know where I'm going or what I'm doing, but this is my last winter here. And then I was borrowing my mom's truck when she was in Mexico. I was going to pick up my son at forest school, and he was 3. And my daughter was in the car with me, and she was 1. And it was very, very, very icy, like black ice, because I was living in the mountains where it's like winter wonderland, like 9 months of the year. And I went around these rock cuts, and it was just like completely black ice. There's no chance in hell, like, your car is not going to like be able to drive on those roads. And so, of course, like, fishtailed around the corner, did a little spin, hit the side. Like, we were fine. The biggest, most scariest piece was getting out of the car and all the other cars sliding. It was literally like they were on the shiniest, cleanest skating rink ever. Like, it was that slippery. Like, I couldn't even walk on it. It was that slippery. And so we had semi-trucks, we had vans, like big vehicles sliding towards me and my baby as I was trying to get her out of the car. So that, like, it even makes me really nervous now talking about it, really emotional. Like, that was the, oh my God, like, this is it. I'm done. Like, I'm out. Okay, so that was the drastic, like, the really intense, I am done. This is the end. I am not going to be in Canada for another winter. So luckily somebody had stopped. We jumped in their truck and continued on to go get my son from forest school. I'm, like, so grateful that nothing serious happened, but that, like, I mean, like, that is a big reason why I don't live in Canada, is the winters. Like, that winter driving, not cool. So anyway, that was the thing that pushed me to make the decision. So what did I do that night after I put the kids to bed? You know, I would build my business during nap times, and after, like, sometimes I'd work until 1, 2, 3 in the morning on my business, because I knew that I was building our future for me and my kids. I could have stayed there. I could have stayed living in government housing. I could have stayed receiving money from the government each month, and that's cool, right? If that's what you're here for. But I know every single one of you, listen to me. You're here for more. You're here for more. The world needs to hear from you. Okay, you have such an impact to make in this world. Okay, no matter if you're an entrepreneur or not, there's something here for you. Okay, so I could have stayed there, but I chose not to. I chose something else. So if I wouldn't have started that online business back then, I don't know where I'd be. There's something magical that happens that I like to call the bridge of incidents. Okay, the bridge of incidents. Once we have this desire, and we really truly make a decision about it, there's this magic that starts to happen, the bridge of incidents. I know all of you here have experienced it. Maybe you've just been unaware of it. Okay, so what it is basically like when I had this desire to move to somewhere else for the winter. At that time, you guys, I don't know if you guys know this, I didn't actually intentionally move to Costa Rica. I did not. I came for the winter. Okay, but the universe had different ideas, and the bridge of incidents happened in a way that I wasn't aware of. Okay, I wasn't aware of, and I want to talk about that as well. Okay, let's talk about that. Sorry, I'm kind of in 3 different conversations here. There's so much of us that tries to control what's happening, right? We try to, like, okay, we make the decision, and then we're like, okay, and then this, and then this, and then this, and this is how it's going to be, and this is how it's going to look, and this is a blah, blah, blah. Like, we go down that path, that masculine path of, like, figuring it out. Okay, but what we do there is we significantly, seriously block ourselves from the magic that's actually on our path. You hear me? Okay. Like, if we really truly decide, and we do it in a way that we're going to talk about tomorrow and the next day, we do it in a way that is illogical. It's nonlinear. It's feminine. It's energetic. It's fun. It's fluid. It's like, it's energetic. It's so cool. Okay, we do it differently, and we begin to attract differently. So there's actually nothing to do and everything to be. You guys love that quote, right? We live by that. Nothing to do, everything to be. This is going to become so much more clear tomorrow and the next day. Okay. So, where was I? We always we always get what we ask for. The car crash, projected me, catapulted me into making a decision. I would work, nap times, bedtime, after the kids would go to bed, I would dream, and I would get out my markers and my pens and my paper, and I would say, if all things are really truly possible, like, what do I want? What do I desire our life to look like? I know I'm not here for this 3D experience. I'm not here for the struggle. I'm not here to just exist, right? I'm not here for the lack. I know I'm here to make an impact, right? I know I'm here to do big things. And like I said, whether you're somebody who is currently an entrepreneur or not, I do fully believe that we are all entrepreneurs at our core. We, as think about it, like, having a job is something that was created, okay? Created through necessity. And it's not a bad thing necessarily if you're somebody who loves your job and feels like lit up by it, but there is a point where you do potentially hit a ceiling, hit like somebody else's maximum of what they want to pay you. Okay, so I do believe that we are all entrepreneurs, and that I do attract a lot of people who want more time, financial freedom, the ability to travel the world whenever they want, the ability to homeschool or unschool their kids. Like, this is a big thing. And so if we really truly remember that we are really actually like limitless and entrepreneurial at our core, we're going to talk more about this tomorrow, we are actually like, we have so much potential. We have so many options. Okay, so to summarize today, as we begin to close up here, I was telling a story about paradigms and how to change them. Okay, so that was 2. The third way is through embodiment. Is through embodying a new idea, an identity, and through embodying it, not necessarily over time, or like you hear a lot of people like, I'm becoming the best of me, or becoming a millionaire, becoming a leader, becoming successful, becoming whatever it is. Becoming will always be becoming. Okay, so I want you guys to become aware of your words. So becoming will always be becoming. So through embodiment, we begin to move differently. And this is what happened to me. Okay, embodiment, we assume a new identity. I talk about this. This is what Activating Abundance, the course, the 6-week course is. It's the embodiment course in 6 different areas of life. We go through them in depth, 1 area per week. So it's kind of a fast track, but it's on demand. You can go in and go through it at your own pace. But the embodiment of a new idea. Okay, so I'll use my own example, and I shared it in my stories this morning. I decided that I was somebody who, wakes up early before the family and does a at-home workout. Okay, workout, I don't like that name at all, but it's like a sweaty movement, okay, in the morning. And it has not once felt like an extra task. It has not once felt like a burden or an extra. It's something that I am, because I decided. So we get to decide who we are. So who are you? I want you to ask yourself, who am I? Who do I believe I am right now? And so if we see ourselves a certain way and we have these desires outside of us, so we're like, I wish I was somebody who, worked out. I wish I was somebody who ate healthier. I wish I was somebody, I'm on a health kick because module one, in Activating Abundance is health. Okay, let me think of something that doesn't help. Like, you guys have ideas too. Like, I wish I was somebody who, fill in the blank. Like, what is it? I wish I was somebody who was successful in business. There's a version of you that is. Okay, whatever that fill in the blank was for you, there's a version of you who is. Okay? So the reason why you deeply align with that desire, whatever dream that desire, is because it's on your path. You resonate with it. It's inevitable that it will happen as long as you embody it, as long as you continue to keep going and commit. It's not going to happen if you flip-flop. It's not going to happen if you tell yourself, oh, it's later. It's not going to happen if you allow your mind to talk you out of it. It's not. It won't happen. Okay, but it's on your path for a reason. So whatever you said, fill in the blank, I am, like, this is who I'm becoming, or I wish I was this. What if you were to be that now? Okay, we're going to go deep into this on part 3 on Saturday. But I just wanted to leave you with that. Like, what if I was that now? Like, and you start to see the separation. You also start to hear the mind. Yeah, but you're not, because you're not good enough. What's the separation between where you currently believe you are and where you currently believe you aren't? What's in the middle? What's in the middle? That's the secret sauce. Those are your secret keys. Those are your golden keys that are going to unlock the embodiment of that. So when I told myself, I'm just somebody who does this, it became me because I have ownership over my mind. My mind no longer owns me. And don't get me wrong, there's times when my mind is freaking loud. There's times when I listen to it. But I now have built up the muscle. Okay, it's like building a muscle for real. I've now built up the muscle to be able to catch myself and be like, dude, you are doing the same shit you've done your entire life. Do you see that? Right? And you literally talk to myself like that. And I'm like, stop it. Stop it. Don't do this. And then you tell yourself a new story, right? Okay. So the third way to change a paradigm, third way to change these ideas that we've been existing through for so long is through embodying a new idea. And it kind of goes hand in hand with the first way to do it, through constant spaced repetition. But embodiment happens like this, if we allow it to, if we believe it can. Okay, I'm going to give you another example. It doesn't, like, I don't know if it resonates with any of you guys, but I hear it often. Somebody who doesn't want to drink alcohol anymore. Maybe you don't have a problem, obviously, or not obviously, but maybe you don't have a problem with it, but you're just like, it just doesn't, like, I'm now aware that doesn't make me feel good. Like, the next day, it gives me a headache, like, it doesn't make me feel good, and it actually isn't in alignment with the version of me that I know I'm here to be. Okay, the version of me that is, like, the best version of me, she doesn't drink alcohol. Okay, I haven't drank alcohol in, like decades. Decades. This makes me sound really old. Over a decade, for sure. Okay, and so the version, somebody is like, okay, well, I'm not going to drink alcohol anymore. I'm not going to drink alcohol anymore, you know? And it's like, the friends come over with a mimosa, and you're like, oh God, well, fine. You know, whatever. Or you go to the restaurant, they pass you the drink menu. If you're somebody who doesn't drink, do you look at the drink menu? You know, like, this is what I'm trying to show you, is that somebody who has the idea and identity of somebody who doesn't drink alcohol, what are they going to do? What are they not going to do? Okay, how strict are they going to be with their boundaries? And, like, honestly, what are they going to do? If they know they're going to a dinner party where everyone's drinking wine, what are they going to do? They're going to stop at the store and get themselves a kombucha. That's what they're going to do, right? Something like that. So this is the embodiment of a new idea. So what does this have to do with dreaming? You're going to find out these 2 days for sure, over these 3 days. But this has everything to do with dreaming, because when we start to ask ourselves, if all things are possible, what do I really truly desire? Okay, I'll come out in a second. Do you want to come sit with me? I'll be right there, Azzy. Okay. I'll come out in 1 second. You want to sit with me and have some water? Come here. Come say hi. Okay. Well, I'll be out in 1 second. I'll get you all set up. Okay. So, do you want some of my tea? Sorry, guys. So when we begin to build this awareness, we've got like 1 minute left. I'm just going to close up. You guys, come here. Come here. Come sit with me. Come sit with me for a second. Okay. There we are. When we start to ask ourselves, if all things are possible, what do I really truly desire? What tends to happen is the ideas get really loud. The story gets really loud. What happened to us in the past and those beliefs get really, really loud. So when you do the integration homework, I want you guys to go deep with that and really truly unpack, like, what is it that I'm hearing when I ask myself, if all things are possible, what do I really truly want? What do I want to experience? What am I hearing? And we can even ask ourselves, like, where did this come from? Is this helping me? Is this serving me? Is this really truly what I want to believe? Is this where I'm going? Right? And the chances are we're going to say, no, it's not. So therefore, right then and there, we get to override it. Okay, so when we're talking about changing a paradigm, changing these ideas, it's very important to realize that it's very, very connected to dreaming. Because if we don't become aware of these thoughts, these ideas that we've been existing through and creating through for so long, however many years old we are, we will continue to create the same experience. We don't want to do that, right? We don't want to do that. Okay, you guys, it's been a blast hanging out with you. It is getting hot in here. I hope that was helpful. I hope that was, like, let me know in the comments if that served you. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. Put them in the comments. If you're excited for day 2, part 2, let me know. This is super exciting. Okay, so don't forget to check out the integration homework, and I'm going to share some more in the email. So if you did not register yet, I'm going to share how you can win a giveaway prize, and then some of you have already shared the event, so you've got something special coming your way as well. I am, again, grateful you guys are all here. I am so grateful that you are open to hearing this, right? I'm not asking you to accept everything I say as truth, but I just am, I would love if you could just not reject it. You know, what if we can be, do, and have anything we desire, but we have been lied to. We have been programmed to thinking that life is hard, that life is hard, that money is limited, that resources are limited, that the economy is shit, that our external world has to control us. What if we've been lied to? What if this is a story that has been made up, that our external 3D reality, our current results, don't actually mean much? All they do is they help us to see where we might have lack in our thinking, where we might be holding on to some old ideas and an old identity is still showing up, right? That's all our 3D current results are showing us. So today's all about awareness. You guys go deep with these questions. I'm so pumped to hear how it is. Feel free to tag me in any shares on social media. That goes towards your participation giveaways. I said it, okay? You guys go have a beautiful day. Stay open to the possibilities and just build the awareness. And every single thing you do for the rest of the day, I want you to question everything and say, why do I do that? You know, where did this come from? Why is this happening? Okay, and we start to see what habits we have. And we start to ask ourselves, is this habit really serving me? Chances are it's not, okay? Again, so grateful you guys are here. You're so welcome. Oh my gosh, it's so fun hanging out with you guys, okay? Go have an amazing day, and I'm going to see you tomorrow. Bye. Ciao, you guys. So good to see you.